Lost Soul Aside is an ambitious action RPG from Ulta Zero Games that channels the spirit of PS2-era hack-and-slash games like Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy, with fast-paced combat and interdimensional exploration. You play as Kaiser, a resistance fighter whose soul merges with an ancient dragon entity called Lord Arena to battle Voidrax invaders and save his sister. Released on August 29, 2025, for PC and PS5, it's a 20-30-hour journey that's equal parts exhilarating and frustrating. The combat shines as a highlight, but a weak story, performance hiccups, and unpolished edges keep it from greatness. At $59.99, it's a solid pick for combo junkies, but others might wait for a sale or patches. Let's dive in. The story kicks off with a bang. A meteor storm unleashes the Voidrax, monstrous invaders that steal souls, including that of Kaiser's sister Louisa. As part of the resistance group, Glimmer, Kaiser's soul fuses with Lord Arena, granting him dragonic powers to fight the Celestria Empire and reclaim what's lost. It's a familiar setup, think Resistance against an evil empire with dimension-hopping twists, but it falls flat due to rushed pacing, awkward dialogue, and one-dimensional characters. Kaiser's bond with Arena provides some emotional depth, and the lore touches on heavy concepts like soul entanglement and ancient entities. But it's bogged down by repetitive exposition dumps and confusing terminology that never fully clicks. Cutscenes are stiff and poorly animated outside of action sequences, with localization issues making conversations feel unnatural. Side characters, like your Glimmer allies, come off as stereotypes with minimal development, and the plot's predictability, complete with betrayals and Empire shenanigans, makes it hard to stay invested. The final act picks up with some surprises, but overall it's a ho-hum narrative that serves as a vehicle for the gameplay rather than a standout feature. If you're here for story, you'll be disappointed. 6-10. Gameplay is where Lost Soul Aside truly pops, delivering a slick hack-and-slash system inspired by Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. Kaiser wields 4 transformable weapons: sword, greatsword, pole blade, spear, and scythege, with unique movesets that you can swap mid-combo for seamless chains. Combat feels fluid and responsive, with mechanics like perfect dodging, which slows, time for counters, stamina, break gauges, and burst moves that add flair to your attacks. The skill tree lets you unlock new abilities, attributes, and weapon skills using XP, encouraging experimentation. Think elemental infusions, fusion blasts with Arena, or survival buffs for tough spots. Boss fights are epic highlights with multi-phase, battles that demand pattern recognition and strategic weapon swaps, culminating in spectacular takedown animations. Exploration involves traversing diverse dimensions, from majestic ruins to alien landscapes, with light platforming, puzzles like environmental manipulation, and dispersed dimensions for mini-challenges. However, the early game drags with limited moves, making combat feel repetitive until you unlock more tools around 5 to 10 hours in. Puzzles are basic, and some bosses have annoying invincibility windows that disrupt flow. Post-game adds replay value with boss rush, stage select, and harder modes, but the linear structure limits freedom. On PC and PS5, controls are tight, though. Some report input lag and crowded fights. Overall, the depth and versatility make it addictive, 8.5/10. Powered by Unreal Engine, likely 5, based on effects, Lost Soul. Aside boasts gorgeous environments inspired by Icelandic and fantasy aesthetics. Think snowy peaks, lava fields, and ancient ruins that pop in 4K with ray tracing support. Character designs, especially Kaiser's costumes, and Arena's dragon form, are stylish, and particle effects during combos are flashy. However, technical issues plague it. Frame rate drops, stuttering, especially on PC, texture pop-ins, and blinding particles that obscure the action. Cutscenes look jerky and some animations feel unpolished, like awkward transitions or clipping. On PS5, it's more stable at 60 FPS, but crashes have been reported during autosaves. The art direction emulates modern Final Fantasy, but glitches hold it back, 7.5/10. The soundtrack is a banger, blending orchestral swells with electronic and epic boss themes that amp up the intensity and fit the fantasy vibe. Sound design for combat is solid, with satisfying whooshes and impacts, though some strikes lack punch. Voice acting is a weak spot. The English dub feels flat and mismatched, with poor direction leading to emotionless delivery. Other dubs, like Chinese, fare better, and you can switch, but abrupt music cuts in cutscenes disrupt immersion. Ambient sounds in exploration areas add atmosphere, but occasional mishaps like missing effects drag it down, 7/10. At $59,999 or $79,999 for deluxe with cosmetics, soundtrack, and art book, Lost Soul Aside offers 20-30 hours of core content, stretching to 40+ with post-game challenges and collectibles. It's a single-player focus with no multiplayer, but replayability comes from mastering combos, harder difficulties, and side modes. The demo gives a taste, and linking Steam PS accounts unlocks bonuses. However, with mixed user reviews, around 60-70% positive on Steam, and performance issues, it feels steep. Many call it overpriced for an AA title. Patches are promised for optimizations, so value could improve. If you love action RPGs, it's worth it. Otherwise, wait for a discount, 7/10. Lost Soul Aside is a diamond in the rough of passion project with killer combat and fantasy flair that evokes classic action games. But it's held back by a dull narrative, technical flaws, and uneven polish. After a decade in development, the highs of chaining combos and slaying bosses make it addictive for genre fans, but the lows might frustrate others. With patches on the way, it has potential to shine brighter, but right now it's a mixed bag. If you're craving Devil May Cry meets Final Fantasy, grab it. Otherwise, demo first. What do you think? Playing it. Drop your takes in the comments, like if this helped, and sub for more.